Good afternoon. This is a Hurricane Irma update. We're here live today at the Orlando Sentinel. I want to also point out right now, first thing, that all information on OrlandoSentinel.com is available for free, storm-related. Also, throughout this live cast, if you have any questions, go ahead and send them in, and we'll get you up to speed as far as what we know, and we'll try to answer what we can. I want to go ahead and get a first update as far as where the storm is here. I have Gall Zyperman Lowtown here. I have Ryan Gillespie here. And Gall, let's go ahead and get an idea of where the storm is right now, if there's any changes in it so far.
Absolutely. So the National Hurricane Center, as of 2 p.m., had the storm about 35 miles south of Naples. So it went over the Keys this morning and is now heading north toward, kind of the west coast of Florida.
Okay.
It is at 120 miles an hour,
okay.
the strongest sustained winds, which makes it a Category 3 storm. It was before a Category 4. I don't want people to think that this means that we're out of the woods and everything is okay. A Category 3 storm, the National Weather Service still classifies it as potentially devastating.
Yes.
So it's definitely still something to watch out for.
Yeah,
stay inside, stay safe.
For sure. And we've watched this storm move westward. It seems like it's still keeping that track of where it's going a little bit more further west.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
But what's also important to remember is that this is a very wide storm.
Okay.
So it's about 350 to 400 miles wide, which means that even if you look at those cone of uncertainty maps that track, the very center of the storm, the eye of the storm, and your location, your hometown is not in that track, the storm may still have some effects even outside that area. So that's, again, not another reason to stay safe.
Very big storm. We can expect at least tropical storm winds here in central, like Orlando area, around the region. But for the most part, it is still a dangerous storm, and do not let your guard down. It is important to stay out there, and just remember that this is a big, dangerous storm still. It might be moving west, and it might be getting a little bit smaller, but that doesn't mean that it's not dangerous. So go ahead and keep your guard up, and keep an eye on OrlandoSentinel.com. As I mentioned, all information right now is available for free, storm-related, and we're just going to keep updating it as we get information, so go ahead and use that. I want to go ahead and head out. We have Kayla O'Brien out in the field. Interestingly enough, you don't think of animals at the zoo, but so many people, so many individuals have prepared, and that includes the Sanford Zoo, and Kayla's there. So Kayla, you're there. They seem like they're hunkering down, getting ready for this storm. Tell us what you've seen out there.
Yeah, not a lot of people think about animals when they think about hurricane preparations, but the people here at the Central Florida Zoo definitely do. They have about 450 animals. They moved about 70 of them into safe structures. Right now, I want to take you around and kind of show you where we are. We're actually inside a banquet hall, so come with me, where people normally get married. There was actually a baby shower planned for today that got canceled, obviously, but now, as you can see, there are animals, there are birds all over this place. There's some pygmy goats, if you can pan over here, Chris, my cameraman. Over here, there's some pygmy goats. So all these animals are normally outdoors at the zoo, but because of Hurricane Irma, they're not taking any risks, and they're moving these animals inside. So this has kind of become a makeshift shelter for these animals.
You think of those smaller animals in the zoo and how many there are, but you can't help but think of those big animals. I mean, they have giraffes, they have rhinoceros. What do they do with those during the storm?
Yeah, so since Hurricane Matthew, a lot of their structures have been updated to be hurricane safe, so they're actually staying where they sleep at night. We actually got to saw PJ, one of the rhinos here, and we saw him walking around taking his last laps around his enclosure before he gets tucked away for the night. But at 4 o'clock, they're calling it. They're going to make sure all the animals are safe, and the staff members too, because they have 11 of them staying here overnight tonight, so they want to make sure they're safe as well.
For a storm like this, do they prepare as far as like food? I guess they don't have to worry about not having enough food, or how do they prepare for something like that?
Yeah, Rich, that's a great question. I asked that to the zookeeper here, the main person that's in charge, and they said they have a stockpile of water and food for about a month for these animals. So in case something really bad did happen with this hurricane, they would be able to survive for a long time. They don't foresee that happening, obviously, with this storm and its track, but they are prepared just in case. And I want to also point out, it's not just food and water that they have to stock up on. It's also toys. We saw a lot of these animals have fun things to do to keep them occupied, puzzles, and they actually play movies, if you can believe it, for these parrots back here, because they love the sensory involvement. They love music. We were actually listening to some Phoenix earlier, which is one of my favorite bands. They were playing that, so we were all enjoying that.
Well, thanks for that, Kayla. For sure, I know they're working hard to keep the animals safe. You stay safe out there as well. We don't think about zoos and how it plays into them, so appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn our attention for some more updates here. I have Ryan Gillespie here. He's going to give us an update over the region of what we can expect throughout the storm. So Ryan, right now with the storm track as it is, what kind of effects can we expect here, say in the Central Florida region?
Sure. So if you are in Osceola County right now in Kissimmee and St. Cloud, you're probably already seeing some sustained tropical storm force winds. You're going to get some stronger gusts.
Okay.
You know, as Gal was saying before, we've got the storm coming up the Gulf Coast of the state. So naturally, the farther west you are in Central Florida, the stronger the winds you're going to get.
Okay.
So as the storm moves north, those winds in Osceola County are going to kind of kick north here to the metro Orlando area.
Okay.
We're going to begin to see them later this afternoon, some tropical storm force sustained winds, some gusts, maybe 60, 70 miles an hour.
Okay.
So that's really what we're looking at right now. The National Weather Service is saying somewhere between 8 and 12 inches probably in this area of rain.
Okay. For the most part, can we expect that tropical storm type conditions here throughout the whole region?
Right, yeah, you're going to get that basically everywhere. Down in Polk County, for example, Krista Toralva with us is down there right now. She was saying they're getting ready for maybe some hurricane force winds down there.
Okay.
And kind of as you move your way north and east, you're going to get it a little weaker.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you're out of the woods like Gal was saying before.
Right.
On the east side of the storm, we're more susceptible to tornadoes.
Right.
So that's really what we're looking at right now. We've had some tornado warnings across the area all day.
Yeah.
There was a tornado reported in Palm Bay that destroyed a few mobile homes. Nobody was injured, but that's really what we're looking at on kind of a minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour basis.
Okay, let's talk about the storm moving a little bit more west. What can, say, those counties, that, like on the west side of Orlando, what can they expect? Do they expect worse conditions, would you say? Yeah,
the farther west you get from the downtown area, you're going to get some stronger winds. In Lake County, for example, they're going to probably see it a little stronger than here in Metro. You know, I don't know exactly how much stronger, but the National Weather Service did say they can expect it a little stronger. Here in Orlando, something that will be important to note, the peak conditions we're going to get, so the strongest conditions, we're looking at 10 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Okay.
Somewhere in there, we might get some wind gusts in the 70-mile-an-hour range, maybe a little bit higher.
Okay.
You know, as Gal was saying, please stay indoors. While it might not be what we thought it was, it's still nothing to mess with, and you don't want to get stuck outside.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll touch base back with you. I want to go ahead and give you a quick recap. Category 3 storm is what Hurricane Irma is right now. 120 miles per hour. It's moving north at 12 miles per hour, and it's 35 miles south of Naples. Also, I want to point out OrlandoSentinel.com. All information storm-related is available for free. Also, we're taking your questions on social media. If you have any questions, we'll get them in live time. I actually have Todd Stewart here. He's working that social media feed, so I'm going to go ahead and actually we're going to stop there. We'll come back to Todd. If you have any questions, go ahead and send them in. Ryan did mention that there were some tornadoes already talked about touching down, and there's also still the potential. We actually have Crystal Hayes out in the field in Palm Bay where we saw some of those hurricanes. Hey, Crystal, how are you doing?
Hey, good. Weathering the storm for sure.
Okay, so tell us a little bit what you see. I know they had a tornado touchdown out that way. What are conditions like that right now?
So right now we don't see as much rain, but you can see behind me there is just debris everywhere.
Okay, so they are.
Palm Bay. This is in a Palm Bay neighborhood called Palm Bay, right off US 1. Behind me you can see this home. Its roof, its second-story roof, was just completely blown off.
Oh wow. Okay, so they are taking in some damage right now from this tornado. Very, very dangerous. Any physical damage? Physical harm done to any individuals out there?
No, right now what we know is that 6 homes and a mobile home park right across US 1 were damaged along with this home, but no injuries reported yet, which is good news.
Okay, all right. So as far as the tornado watches go in that area, are they still up and running throughout that area? When can they expect those to kind of release down?
I just got an alert to my phone that actually they discontinued the tornado warning, which is good news over here. A lot of residents are just out here kind of scanning over their property and seeing the damage that was caused. But for now, I think this area is in the clear for at least a little bit. But the winds are still definitely whipping around. We definitely at least 40-mile-per-hour winds we had at one point over here. So.
Okay, well, it's good to hear that they're in the clear. Granted, they had a little bit of a scare already, and you know, we actually need to stay on top of the tornadoes and keep those in mind, because with a storm like this, they can potentially spawn, and you know, especially as those swirling motions of this tornado or this hurricane start making their way across Florida, that's whenever you start having those spawn off. I want to go ahead and go back to our social media. We were talking with Todd. As far as questions go, I want to go ahead and check in with him and see if there's anything that we need to answer or anything that's, you know, of importance right now.
Well, we're getting a lot of questions, a lot of, again, prayers for Orlando. One, and I think Ryan has read about this already. Do you think we in Orlando have much to worry about from power outages? That's from Alicia Leavitt on our Facebook page. I think power outage is still something we're going to be dealing with.
Absolutely. You know, these winds are going to knock down trees. They're going to knock them into power lines. Therefore, we're going to lose power. Right before we came on here, I got a brief update. OUC customers are doing pretty well so far. We've got very few outages reported there so far. With Duke Energy, if you're a Duke Energy customer, about 7,400 of you are out of power as of 15 minutes ago. 563 of those are in Lake County. For our Marion County viewers, we have 2,500 of you are probably without power. And if you are a Florida Power and Light customer, we're looking at 8,000 people in Brevard out of power. I would expect those numbers to climb as we go throughout the day and these conditions pick up. So definitely something to worry about.
Yeah, so Lee should answer your question. And it may seem like we've dodged a little bit of the worst of it, but there's still wide potential for wide power outages.
Yeah, let's go ahead and come back. I will give a quick recap with Gall. Let's talk about those power outages, not necessarily, you know, when they're going to happen, but when we could start expecting to have them happen, because I know the storm's going to start moving in really late this evening, or I guess early in the morning, right?
And as of late this morning, just before noon, about 1.5 million people statewide, or 1.5 million customers, I should say, statewide were without power.
Okay.
Most of them were in South Florida, where the winds are a little bit stronger right now. But as the storm moves north and keeps going up the west coast of Florida, we can see more down trees, which will cause more power outages.
Okay.
Yeah.
When can we expect seeing like the worst case scenario here in Orlando area?
So here in Orlando, it will likely be overnight.
Okay.
It will be between about, I believe, 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when the storm is really going to pass along. Right.
Okay.
But because this is such a large and powerful storm, the hours before that and the hours after that will still be pretty strong as well.
Okay. As Gall mentioned, Category 3 storm, 120 miles per hour. It's moving north at 12 miles per hour. It's 35 miles south of Naples. I want to go ahead and touch here with Ryan as far as curfews in place. I know Orange County, Seminole, a few other counties in the area have imposed them. What can people expect right now? Tell me about when they take place.
So our breaking curfew news of the morning, Lake County. If you live in Lake County, you are now under a curfew from 7 p.m. tonight until 6 p.m. tomorrow. Sheriff Peyton Grinnell announced that today.
Okay.
And we're kind of seeing that timetable across the region. Orange County, the same thing, 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. Lake County, Seminole County with the same thing. If you live in Brevard County, you are not under a county-wide curfew. But if you live in Melbourne Beach, you are under curfew from 7 p.m. tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
And in Volusia County as well, 9 p.m. tonight until noon tomorrow.
Okay.
Something that's important to note, those could change.
Okay.
You know, if the damage is bad enough, maybe they'll be extended into tomorrow. Sheriff Jerry Deming said today, maybe they'll be shortened if once, you know, first responders get out in the field and can kind of assess the damage and see if it's safe for people to be out and about. But all officials across the county are very consistent with this.
Right.
Stay indoors until they tell you to, because, you know, we've had fatalities in the past from people venturing out too soon and, you know, maybe stepping on a live power line or getting hit by a fallen tree, things like that.
Sure. Let's go ahead and touch base on shelters. As far as we've seen that storm moving a little bit more west, I know people are starting to think, you know, we're kind of out of that cone, but I assume shelters are still working and operating, and how are they working right now?
Sure. You know, when you're out of that cone, it might be easy to kind of take a breath and relax, but that only means the eye is not coming to you.
Okay.
You know, we're going to feel some winds from this, and we're going to feel some damage. If you don't think you're safe where you are, you need to go to a shelter.
Okay.
You know, the good news for that is you can go to our live blog on OrlandoSentinel.com for the most up-to-date shelter information. 17 schools in Orange County right now are open as shelters. In Lake County, they have many shelters as well. Villages Elementary School is at capacity.
Okay.
But they did open Mount Dora High School today, and just recently actually opened it up for special needs folks. So if you need to go there, now is the time to go. Don't wait until it gets bad.
Right.
You know, the Florida Highway Patrol wants people off the road, but at the same time, if you think you're unsafe where you need to go, you need to get to a shelter.
And as you mentioned, a lot of curfews are going to start taking into place. So if that's something you feel like you need to do, now's the time to start making the move towards that direction, because 7 p.m. seems to be a lot of these curfews are going to start putting in place.
Right. You've got a few hour window before it's going to get, you know, pretty bad around here. So if you're going to go, now is the time to make that call.
Okay, I want to go ahead and point out again, OrlandoSentinel.com. All information is available storm-related for free, so go ahead and use it as a resource. Also, we're taking in questions on social media. We'll try to get out all information that we can, and if some come in after the live feed, we'll go ahead and go through and we'll try to get that on OrlandoSentinel.com, or we'll just directly message over. I'm going to go ahead and touch base with Todd again. Any other questions we can go ahead and
This seems to be a popular question, and we've answered it in a couple different ways, but it's worth reiterating. It's from Nicole Landry Patterson. When will we feel the effects in Orlando? Well, I think the short answer is already starting to feel the effects.
Right.
But I think 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. is kind of what you guys have said is probably the worst.
That's good. That's what the National Weather Service told
Right.
me is going to kind of be the peak when you're going to get your 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and when it's going to be especially dangerous. That's not to say it's not dangerous now and
Right.
it won't be before then, but the peak is going to be about
But
10 p.m.
That rain outside is the effects. It's here.
Yeah, and we almost don't forget, this is a big storm. I mean, it's almost 400 miles wide, so even if it is taking that West Coast feel, like West Coast track, it's still all over the state. So keep that in mind for sure. I want to go ahead and do one last recap here with Gall. Let's go ahead and give a recap where the storm is and what we can expect.
So the storm has passed over the Florida Keys. It is about 35 miles south of Naples, just steadily going north at about 12 miles an hour. It has gone from a Category 4 storm to a Category 3 storm, but it is still going at 120 miles an hour, maximum sustained wind speeds. So again, it is something that people should, there's no reason for panic, but people should be safe. People should make sure that they are somewhere secure. That is, if they were ordered to evacuate, they should have evacuated or be evacuating right now.
Okay. And it's keeping that same,
safe, be smart.
keeping that same path as far as it looks like right now. Tampa Bay area may possibly get the impact from this right now.
Yes, it's looking like it's going to go along the Gulf Coast of Florida, sort of going inland and then maybe coming back out a bit. It's, you know, not, we can't say with 100% certainty yet, but it will sort of be hugging the coast.
Okay, all right, well, go ahead and keep an eye on OrlandoSentinel.com for more information. We'll keep that updated. We'll keep getting information out there and keep an eye on our social media feeds. If you have questions, go ahead and send them in. But for now, we're going to sign off. For Orlando Sentinel, I'm Rich Pope.